Hello, Nerd Nation. It's trying to nerd up or shut up. So it took me a little bit of time, but I'm finally getting back on track with my top 40 DC original animated universe movies. What this video is going to be numbers 30 through 21 and my thoughts on those said movies. So let's jump right into it. Number 30 is going to be Superman, Batman, Apokolips. Not Apokolips War, not the most recent one. This is when they came out many years ago. In my opinion, this movie was meh. Really, it's a story of Supergirl coming to Earth and meeting Batman and Superman, and there's distrust, and then she joins Darkseid, and then a fight ensues at the end, which is really cool. This one's just meh. I don't know. I mean, I own the comic, as you can see. And I thought the comic was meh. It was a pretty bad follow-up, in my opinion, to Public Enemies. But the fight at the end in the animated version was great. And Wonder Woman and Big Barda versus the Furies was also really, really cool. I thought that was probably one of the better Wonder Woman moments in most of these DC animated movies. However, in this movie, the true MVP is going to be the Green Arrow short. This was my first official good look at Green Arrow, and I realized, oh shit, he's not just Green Hawkeye. I am a Marvel mark, so I will acknowledge, but I mean, watching that and then all of a sudden Arrow coming out the next couple years after that, color me impressed. And so, you know, that's where my love for the Green Arrow kind of started. Number 29 is Green Lantern First Flight. The animation had its moments. This is exactly what a Green Lantern movie should be. Unfortunately, that's about it. You know, you had the origin of Hal Jordan as a Green Lantern. You had the fall of Sinestro. You had the actor who plays Red on that 70s show playing a mob boss in this movie, and all I wanted him to do once, just once, is to turn at Hal and call him a dumbass. You dumbass! I thought it would have been great. The final fight was pretty epic, though. Hal Jordan going super Green Lantern against Sinestro, and that was about it. I mean, it was pretty cool, but not much beyond that. Number 28, Batman versus Robin. So let's just bring back up the topic that I brought up already many times before. I hate Damian. I hate Damian. And this movie just showcases that. In the beginning, they have a little tussle with Dollmaker, who is definitely creepy. Nightwing's always a win, and his fight with Damian at the cave is entertainment. You know, I'm pretty sure it's like is it their training, or I think it was when he was trying to leave, I think. I can't remember, honestly. I blocked it out mostly. Zombie owls, very weird. You got zombie owls running around, dead guys that are being reanimated and yada yada, and it just, ugh. I like the Court of Owls. I like the idea of the Court of Owls. I always like an Arkham game that was based on the Court of Owls, but I mean, the zombie owls, like, really? Oh, and Bruce Wayne's girlfriend turns out to be the leader of the Court of Owls. Oh, go figure. Oh, shit. Yeah, no, I kind of saw that coming a mile away even when I first watched it. I forgot about it, and then I saw it coming from a mile away the second time I watched it, because I really haven't watched this movie probably more than once or more than twice now with my rewatch. The main villain, Talon, I would consider him the main villain, and basically he's the person trying to lure Damian to the dark side and to become a killer like him. You know, have the Punisher mindset and kill the bad guys so they don't come back. You know, that was it. I mean, Talon was pretty cool. The hand-to-hand combat, though, I must admit, in this movie was really cool. They really did a good job at the choreography with the animation and the hand-to-hand combat. I really felt like that was they did a really good job at showcasing the hand-to-hand combat that Batman and Damian and all of them can do. So, This one, I mean, you know, that's really the only things you can take away from this one. But yeah, that's it. Number 27, Superman versus the Elite. So the animation was meh in this one. I didn't like the Super Leno chin that Superman had. After you got used to that, it was okay. The Elite were portrayed pretty good. However, I liked Manchester Black and Supergirl better. The actor was better versus this voice actor. They did a pretty good job at trying to deep dive into Manchester Black's background, but honestly, the whole Superman going bad thing was not very believable. But the fight at the end was fun. I mean, these movies seem to have a lot of fights at the end that are really fun. But, I mean, really, that's about all I took away from this one. Number 26. Harley Quinn and Batman. Or Batman and Harley Quinn. One of the two. Big nostalgia vibes in this one from the animated series. Kevin Conroy, always a win. So, the big problems with this one. Nightwing and Harley hook up? Okay, I mean, let's be real. Nightwing's parental influence, which is Batman, sleeps with Catwoman all the time. So, but then you think about it, Harley Quinn slept with the Joker, and then Nightwing slept with Harley, and you're like, might not want to touch that one. It might burn a little. They go to this bar in the middle of the movie, and it's just, this whole scene is utterly ridiculous. And I get it. They were trying to go for a 90s comedy vibe with a little bit of adult humor in it, and a lot of bit of adult humor in it, and just, you know, make it a little more grown up. And honestly, it fell so flat. Like, it fell so flat to me in this whole bar scene in the middle. Batman, Nightwing, and Harley Quinn finally catch up with the bad guys, which is Ivy and the Floridic Man? Question mark? Aw, Riddler. I love the Riddler. Anyway, this is like the theme. This is like the theme of the Harley Quinn animated show, which I love. Harley cries, Ivy caves. Swamp Thing was in this one. Swamp Thing was just worthless, and the whole thing at the end where Bats and Nightwing are kissing Harley on the cheek, and it just, blech. And like, you know, they had the match, and you know, they beat the Floridic Man by burning him, and it's like, they were trying to regenerate a 90s vibe, and it just didn't work. It didn't even... I don't even know how to explain it. Parts of this movie was fun. However, a lot of this movie fell flat. And although I loved the animated series, didn't love this one as much. Number 25. Justice League versus the Fateful Five. Alright, so this one is the exact same as Batman and Harley Quinn, or Batman versus Harley Quinn, I don't remember. Anyway, this one has the same 90s vibe to it a little bit of that goofiness. It took itself a little bit more seriously because you had two new characters introduced. It was Starboy, who had a medication problem. He came back from the future, from the Legion of Superheroes, but he needed his medication that can only be made in the future, so he's like freaking out, and he's like all schizophrenia and everything like that. So I'd see what they were trying to do there, but it, again, fell flat. Jessica Cruz as the Green Lantern was a plus of the film. I kind of liked her. I mean, you know, I didn't know much about Jessica Cruz before this, and I don't know much of her afterwards, but I enjoyed her in the entirety of this film. Seeing Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman from the animated series from universe was always, you know, it's always fun. A little bit of nostalgia. I don't remember if, I mean, I think Superman and Bats were the same voice actors. I don't remember if Wonder Woman was the same, so I'm sure you will correct me in the comments if it was or wasn't. And the Fateful Five. I know it's in the title, but they were just utterly forgettable to me. I mean, I don't know. Why? Like, I mean, I know they were trying to pick like a different team other than the Legion of Doom, or you know, the Injustice League or whatever they are. They didn't matter worth a shit to me. They really didn't. So, but that's probably the one thing about this movie and these animated series movies is, well, the ones based off the animated series universe, is they're forgettable. And number 24, Green Lantern, Emerald Knights. This is one that, although its namesake earlier in this list, is done a lot better in my opinion. Emerald Knights tops Gotham Knights in so many ways. That the storytelling is much better. The way they link everything together is much better in my opinion. The animation is consistent. I mean, everything that I wanted from Gotham Knights, I got in Emerald Knights, which I'm okay with. Nathan Fillion as the Green Lantern and Hal Jordan is always a win. I love how they had the story, the split storytelling, where, you know, the first story was just the history of the Green Lanterns. I had no idea about this before this movie, first time, you know, and then when I rewatched it, you know, and it was fun watching like the first 4 Green Lanterns and then their first constructs, you know. I mean, it's kind of like the David versus Goliath type story, except with 4 of them. And I think one of them sacrificed themselves or something. I don't remember, but that was fun. Kilowog's Kitty Camp, that was a great story. I mean, that's what I call it. I don't think they had title cards on this one, but, you know, Kilowog, you know, is a baby recruit, and, you know, they're all trying to learn their stuff, and they got some dude going around calling everyone poosers. I don't know who would ever say posers. I mean, come on. Or poosers. It was poosers, actually. I don't know who would ever do that, but that person is a loser. I'm just saying. The story with the Family Feud and the MODOK Green Lantern showing up, that one was okay. I mean, I wasn't incredibly impressed with that one, but you know. The fourth story with Mogo, and really I think this one with the whole planet Green Lantern, I really think this should have been Lobo. I really think that this would have been awesome if the main man would have shown up, and it would have been Lobo versus an entire Green Lantern planet. I think that would have been great for laughs and great for continuity, everything. You know, he didn't have to kill him. Lobo would have just went away with his tail between his legs, because I don't even know if Lobo can fight a planet, especially with a Green Lantern ring. The next story is Abin Sur and Sinestro's romp, which is good. It's a good character building for Abin Sur and Sinestro. Kind of does do a little bit of the lead up to, you know, where Abin Sur gets killed and lands on Earth. But then we roll into the final fight, and the final fight was really cool because they kind of did this whole, like, they literally Ragnaroked Oa. They took the planet with their lantern rings, and they threw the planet at the dude. Like a dude that looks just like Surtur. They took the Green Lantern rings, and they threw it, or they threw the planet of Oa that he wanted to destroy right at oh, what was his name? I don't even remember his name now. It wasn't Phalanx or whatever his name was. It was I don't know. I'm going to call him Surtur because I don't know what the hell his name was. But it was funny. Like, they're like, oh, well, let's just hit him with a bunch of matter because he's antimatter. Okay. It's just like, what? So it was fun. I mean, there was a new recruit lady that they were training, and that's where all these stories kind of came from. A lot of it felt organic to me, and I really enjoyed this movie, actually, a lot. I'm glad it was animated. I don't know if this would have set too well in the movie, like, live-action universe, but I feel like this was definitely a good format for an animated Green Lantern movie. And I kind of wish I would see more Green Lantern stuff. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that you can do. Especially the Sinestro Corp War. Ooh. Number 23. And I might get flack for this one, but sorry. Justice League, Crisis on Two Earths. This feels like it should have been a movie for the animated series Justice League, in between the Justice League and the Justice League Unlimited movie. So, like, you know, like when you go from Justice League, it being the original 7 or 6 or whatever it was, and then they start open membership into Justice League Unlimited, the show. I feel like this movie was supposed to be like right there in the middle. And I know that they probably did in Justice League and stuff like that in the animated Justice League series, but this movie felt like it would have organically fit right in between Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Unfortunately, I mean, that's why I kind of feel like it was beyond the point. But it was really good. Batman and Owlman were just super badasses throughout the whole thing. Superwoman and Wonder Woman were also badasses. I mean, just everything that those characters did. Ultraman was just kind of there. He's like, whatever. The rest of them aren't even, Quick Dude. I don't remember what his name is. He's Australian. He's Australian, mate! But he's, he makes a sacrifice play in the end, although he doesn't know it because Batman tricked him. But really, this is just good Justice League versus bad Justice League. And it was done very, very, very well. So, I have no real big complaints about it, but it didn't stand out. Like, on second viewing, it didn't stand out to me as much as the first time. I think I would have had it higher on my list if I hadn't rewatched it again. Number 22, Justice League Dark. So this is another movie in the DC original animated universe New 52 line. I thought that this was a good movie. I like this movie just because it was a good blend of the lesser-known JLA characters like Zatanna, Deadman. I mean, and a lot of them aren't JLA characters, but, like Zatanna is a JLA character. You get Intrikin introduced. Swamp Thing's in it, but just like every other time Swamp Thing's introduced in anything, he's a freaking joke. And I mean, he doesn't do anything, really. The Green! Bah. But anyway, so there was some freaky ass shit in this one. Like the monster, like where there was this monster that was a turd. Like it was septic juices. I mean, come on, I've seen some stuff in my days, but I feel bad for Batman. Speaking of Batman, even though this universe had been cramming Batman down our throat, unfortunately, I feel like he was the most appropriate gateway into this section of the Justice League. He's dark, he's brooding, and it just made sense. He believes in science and what's in front of him, even though he probably knows magic exists. But he's still very skeptical of it. But he felt like he was the perfect gateway into this area. And of course, Matt Ryan is always a win when he is Constantine. That includes Legends of Tomorrow. Number 21, Superman Doomsday. So this was the first movie in the DCAOU line. I have mad respect for it. I mean, it took a really wild swing. It kind of, the first moment you saw Superman just spitting up blood and, Doomsday was just wrongful stomping people, but they still kept it pretty censored. The moment it hits you that this is going to be more of an adult film is like when Superman is hands and knees on the ground and you just see blood pouring out of his mouth while fighting, like from fighting Doomsday. And you know that this is going to be not your animated series Superman. However, I will say that this movie does feel like, again, a animated series, like if it was like a Superman animated series movie, like based off the animated series. I really feel like that this is what they wanted to do during the animated series, but just TV regs would not allow them. Moving on to Luthor. I was not a fan of Luthor. Luthor is a hard sell sometimes, depending on the voice actor. I didn't like the New 52 Luthor. I didn't like this Luthor. The animated series Luthor I loved. But I just really wasn't a fan of this Lex Luthor. The death and return of Superman are one of my favorite Superman storylines. As a matter of fact, it's probably my favorite Superman storyline. I own all the comics. I own all of them individually, and I own the graphic novel. But the thing about this one is that it does... That's why I say this is more of the animated series' rendition of this. Later on in the list, we'll get into, you know, the actual movies that are the death and the reign of the Supermen. But I really feel like that this movie, as I said, it took a wild swing, and it changed some things, and I feel like they changed the name. Like, this is not like Batman Hush. They made the title the exact same as the comic book. We were expecting Batman Hush. In this, they changed it. It went from... It wasn't Death of Superman. It was Superman Doomsday. So at least going into this, we knew that there might be a change in order. And as I said, I got mad respect for it. I didn't like it as much as we're going to get into later with the other ones. However, I think they got themselves off on the right track. And, well, kind of varied a little bit with the next couple movies after that. However, definitely got mad respect for this one. Lex Weinstein is just freaky and creepy. He's a perv. Just hitting on Lois Lane and kissing. Just, ew. Like, no. Like, ew. He got what he deserved, but still. Like, no. Ew. There was a point in the movie towards the end where, Superman's standing on this eagle head on the side of a building. It's that classic shot of Superman. Capes waving, he's sitting there with his chest out, and he's looking out on Metropolis and the way. But then you see, like, it's dark, and you got, like, cracks of lightning. And it's very Batman the Animated Series-esque. And I actually really like that because it definitely portrayed the fact that this was a darker Superman. I didn't like the clone Superman, but I'm not going to lie. Him dropping Toyman after Toyman killed the little girl, him dropping Toyman was a boss move. Not going to lie. I think Toyman deserved it. Oh, did I say that? Oh. Sorry, Big Blue. I feel like the final fight in this movie was just way more destructive than in Man of Steel. I mean, maybe not. But, I mean, I remember watching this going, huh. Well, if this came out around the time Man of Steel did, people would be freaking out about this too, right? All that destruction and death. Oh, it's too dark. I'm Batman. Do you bleed? God. Like, ugh. I don't know. I hadn't watched this movie in a long time, but I actually enjoyed it more now than I did back in 2007 when I watched it. I mean, this whole animated line has had some major ups and major downs, and some major mehs and some major underwhelming things. And I feel like the Superman Doomsday is kind of the pivot point where you start to see things turn up. And you start to see where storytelling and good comic book arcs start to come into these movies. And that's one of the things that I really enjoy about these animated movies. And I feel like that this one set the precedent. As I said, this one, to a lot of people, might be forgettable. I probably hold it higher on my list because it was the first. I owe it mad respect. And honest and truly, I mean, it's my list. So, I don't know. Yeah. Tell me how I'm wrong in the comments, I guess. All right, well, that wraps it up for number 30 through 21 of my list. Hopefully we will continue on this utter road of dissatisfaction and malcontent. Anyway, I'm Cousin Cheeto, Bobby Black, whatever you want to call me. Be good to yourselves and each other. Have a good one.